Solve the given triangle. So here we have triangle ABC, and we're given side, 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 which is a law of cosine criteria. So we're going to apply the law of cosines first, and then we'll apply the law of sines and continue solving the triangle. So since all three sides are given, you can start with either angle. I'm going to start with angle A. And the law of cosines for angle A is going to be written like this. It's A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine A. All right, so now we'll just substitute. A squared is going to be 12.4 squared equals, and then B squared is going to be 15.1 squared plus C squared, which is 21.9 squared, minus 2 times 15.1 times 21.9, and then times the cosine of A. Okay, now we need to solve for this angle A way over here with the cosine. So first thing I need to do is subtract the 15.1 squared and the 21.9 squared. So I'm just going to do all that on the calculator. Negative 553.86. Equals, and it's going to be all this business here, negative 2 times 15.1 times 21.9 cosine of A. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to simplify all this business on the right here with a cosine A, negative 2 times 15.1 times 21.9. Negative 661.38. I'm just going to fill in the rest of the equation here, negative 553.86, and this is going to be times the cosine of A. Okay, next thing we want to do is get this cosine A by itself. So divide both sides by negative 661.38. So the cosine of A, so these cancel out, is going to be negative 553.86 divided by negative 661.38. .8374. Now to find the measure of angle A, we have to do the inverse cosine of this 0.8374. So I'm going to do second cosine, which is inverse cosine, and then I'm going to pull the answer from up above, so I push second and then answer. It'll just pull this long decimal that we're trying to find the inverse cosine of. 33.13, we'll just call it 33.1. Okay, so now we're going to find a second angle measure. Let's go for angle B here. We're going to have to use the law of sines. So here's the ratio. Sine of A to A equals sine of B to B. and that's going to be written as sine of A, which we just found is 33.1 degrees, to side A, which is 12.4, equals sine of B to side B, which is 15.1. Okay, so now we're going to cross multiply here. 12.4 times the sine of B equals 15.1 times the sine of 33.1 degrees. I'm going to simplify the right side on the calculator. (8.2461). And that's equal to 12.4 times the sine of B. Solve for the sine of B, divide both sides by 12.4. So divided by 12.4, 0.6650. So the measure of angle B is going to be the inverse sine of 0.6650. Let's see the inverse sine of the decimal we had up above. 41.68 or 41.7, let's say. So measure of angle B equals 41.7 degrees. And now we solve two of the three angles, which means we can just use the triangle sum theorem to find the third angle. Subtract the two known measures from 180 degrees, and what's left has to be measure of angle C. So it's going to be 180 degrees minus 33.1 degrees minus 41.7 degrees. (105.2 degrees). Okay, so there we go. We solved for all three angles. We solved for measure of angle A using the law of cosines. Then we solved for measure of angle B using the law of sines. Then we solved for measure of angle C using the triangle sum theorem. So that's how you solve a triangle given a side-side-side situation.